He lied about a $1 stock, made millions, and only served 22 months in jail. Then Hollywood turned his crimes into a blockbuster, and the wildest part is that people still cheer for him today. Our story begins in Bayside, Queens, in 1962, a working-class Jewish neighborhood where dreams were modest and ambition had a ceiling. But one kid, Jordan Belfort, had no interest in ceilings. By summer's end, he made 20 grand selling Italian ices at just 16 years old. Most teens would have blown it on a Camaro, but Jordan enrolled in dental school. After college, Jordan launched a door-to-door meat and seafood business that quickly caught up with him and went bankrupt. But in the wreckage, Jordan found his superpower. The product didn't matter. You could sell anything. And just like that, the salesman was born. He landed an entry-level job at L.F. Rothschild, a legit Wall Street firm with suits, quotas, and cocaine in the bathroom stalls. It was the 1980s, and he got his first taste of real money and real greed, learning how the markets moved and how brokers sold.
Black Monday. The markets crashed and I was fired.
It's over, Jordan! The market is dead! We're ruined!
Maybe for you, but I just discovered penny stocks. Pink sheet garbage no serious broker would touch.
Those are unregulated, illiquid garbage companies!
Yeah, but here's the magic. 50% commissions. Same pitch, 10 times the reward. No fancy degrees required, just a fast phone and a faster mouth.
So Jordan picked up the phone and called some poor guy in Nebraska. He pitched a tiny company, claiming it was sitting on technology that was going to disrupt the entire home entertainment industry. He pushed the idea of a ground floor opportunity, promising a 10 times return minimum. He closed $4,000 with a single call. No rules, no regulators, just cold calls and pure adrenaline. In 1989, Jordan teamed up with Danny Porush, a fast-talking, drunk-snorting misfit from Long Island, who had the charm of a salesman and the instincts of a hustler. Together, they built their empire, introducing Stratton Oakmont, a name that sounded prestigious, like it had a 100-year legacy and leather-bound books. In reality, it was a strip mall boiler room, and the early recruits weren't analysts. They were bartenders, college dropouts, and neighborhood hustlers. Jordan didn't want experience. He wanted hunger, so he developed a method called Line Persuasion. This psychological pressure cooker was designed to bulldoze hesitation, drown out doubt, and guide a prospect from hello to where do I send the check.
Hello, Mr. Michael. Listen to me. This company is tiny now, yes, but it's sitting on a piece of technology that's going to disrupt the entire home entertainment industry. I'm not really sure I understand the company.
You don't have to understand the company, sir. You just have to understand the upside. That's what smart money does.
I don't know. Do you want to be first, or do you want to read about it in Forbes a year from now saying, God, I wish I had listened? I'm locking you in for 4,000 shares.
Stratton Oakmont targeted the forgotten investors, the working-class retirees, and desperate parents, selling them hope wrapped in urgency. At first, it was obscure penny stocks, but once the money started flowing, the schemes evolved into real IPOs. They executed a pump and dump, buying massive blocks of cheap shares, flooding the market with manufactured excitement to spike the stock, and then dumping everything at the top. By the early 90s, the office was a carnival, a blur of screaming phones, air horns, $2,000 suits, and enough narcotics to kill a rhinoceros. Jordan became a cult leader in Armani. Top performers were treated like royalty, while underperformers were humiliated, cut loose, and replaced in hours. The parties featured strippers in the conference room, champagne overflowing into fax machines, and lines of coke snorted off compliance manuals. But the SEC had flagged a growing list of suspicious filings, and complaints were piling up from investors who watched their stocks crash. As the firm grew, millions were funneled offshore through a web of shell companies, with some parked in Geneva under fake names. At one point, Jordan moved funds using couriers, including a housekeeper smuggling cash-stuffed envelopes sewn into her bra.
This company has zero revenue, no product, and no working phone number, but it's a guaranteed winner! Close the deal or get out! I want you pushing this until they buy or die! Jordan, the SEC is asking questions about the BZZT IPO! Ignore them! Just keep closing! We sell the dream! Because when you can't sell the truth, you sell the dream!
Inside the firm, drug use became a necessity. Quaaludes slowed their speech down and cocaine sped them back up. Jordan's marriage was disintegrating as his wife constantly found pills in the couch cushions and syringes in the bathroom. In one terrifying incident, he crashed his Ferrari into a pillar while high on lewds with his 3-year-old daughter in the passenger seat. Against the captain's warning, Jordan insisted they sail his yacht from Italy to Sardinia during a brutal storm. They had to be rescued by the Italian Navy, leaving the destroyed yacht and over $2 million in jewelry and narcotics sinking into the sea. Back in New York, Gregory Coleman, an agent with the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, tracked Jordan's casino withdrawals and wire records. What Jordan didn't know was that some of his own brokers had flipped, wearing wires and recording calls to save themselves. In October 1996, federal agents raided Stratton Oakmont, ripping phones from desks and emptying filing cabinets. In early 1997, despite being explicitly told not to move the funds, Jordan wired $2 million to Switzerland. The transaction was traced, and the chase was over.
We have the recordings. We have the wire transfers to Switzerland. $2 million, Jordan. The empire you built on cold calls and false promises has finally collapsed. I'm facing up to 30 years in federal prison. Wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering. Unless you cooperate. I'm a salesman, Agent Coleman. I flip, I wear a wire. I'll give you everyone.
Facing decades in prison, Jordan did what he always did. He sold information, flipping on his friends and handing them over like receipts. Over 30 employees were indicted, paying for Jordan's playbook, while he secured a plea deal for just 22 months in a minimum security facility. There were no fences or cells. He played tennis in the mornings, lifted weights, and at night, he wrote. Inside, he met comedian Tommy Chong, who was serving time for selling bongs online, and Chong told him to write his story down. In 2007, he published The Wolf of Wall Street, a memoir that read more like an unapologetic victory lap than a confession. In 2013, Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio turned the convicted fraudster's life into a global blockbuster. Audiences laughed and applauded, but the people he scammed didn't get movie deals or closure. They were left with debt and nothing. The court ordered Jordan to pay $110 million in restitution, but most of it vanished into offshore accounts and legal loopholes. Today, he's a motivational speaker and sales coach. He turned 22 months into a book deal and turned fraud into fame.
I was guilty of being greedy, but so is everybody else. Buy my sales course today. Learn to close like a wolf.
The victims, the teachers, the war veterans, the families who lost their life savings were left waiting. Jordan wears the name The Wolf like a badge of honor, not a scar. He didn't just escape justice, he sold it. And maybe the scariest part is that we applauded, because deep down we never wanted him punished. We wanted to be him.